election. We said in the election that Mr Turnbull and his government have no agenda. We said in the election Mr Turnbull and his government had no plan and no ideas. And today in the Senate, that's been demonstrated. That's been demonstrated because for some 3 hours we have seen Speaker after Speaker from the government side filibuster in a desperate attempt to keep this chamber running until question time. A desperate attempt to keep the place rolling until question time. They've literally got nothing to talk about. They've got no content. The only thing they do have a lot of content on, the only thing they do have in excess supply, Madam Acting Deputy President, is division. They got a lot of that. Division on marriage equality, division on superannuation, division on donations reform. I mean, in fact, you have to work hard to keep up with the number of splits in the government at the moment, because every new blog tells us another story about another split. This is the government of Australia we're talking about. And so some of us in politics might look at this and think how amusing it is that the Prime Minister is under attack by his own backbench, the former Prime Minister, former cabinet ministers. But the hard and sad reality of it is that this division brings with it paralysis. It brings with it an inability to govern. And what we have seen this morning in this chamber is a government so divided they are paralysed and unable to govern, unable to bring into this chamber a single piece of legislation. I mean, we've even had the spectacle of cabinet ministers in this country, Senator Sinodinos, Senator Canavan, being dragged in to this place for the sole purpose of keeping the Senate sitting till question time. I mean, you'd think they'd have nothing to do. I mean, they're only ministers of the cabinet. In the meantime, can I say, we have been subject to some stunning displays of oratory from the other side. Senator Canavan regaled the House with his love of the last night of the Proms music concert, which he described as one of his favourite TV programs. He also told us about chia seeds and his favourite places in Western Australia. Just for good measure, Senator Reynolds used her filibuster to further embarrass the Prime Minister over Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act. She read out long slabs of quotes from people who, like her, in defiance of the wishes of the Prime Minister, want Section 18C repealed. Senator McGrath told us of his love of flagpoles and relived his not-so-glorious days on the campaign trail with the former member for Herbert. Senator Cecilia resorted to reading out a list of local Liberal candidates, but my personal highlight, my personal favourite, was Senator Mackenzie, not only declaring that the best thing about the election was the Nationals beating the Liberals in Mallee and declaring Senator Scullion to be a deep thinker, but declaring her praise for a Nationals candidate in McEwen whose name she couldn't even remember. But apparently, and I quote, "He runs a stock feed store in a place starting with T." End quote. Well, colleagues, it's been 2.5 months since the election. It's been 4 months since the parliament last sat at the commencement of the session. And I think senators, the media and in fact the Australian people are asking, where is this Turnbull government's agenda? Where is that plan for jobs and growth? We've got 5 sitting weeks left till the end of the year, and this is the government's legislation plan. It isn't surprising that the Australian Financial Review and others did pieces for the weekend about looking at the Prime Minister's performance, grading him. I think he basically got a D+ from the Financial Review and their commentators. I would note in those articles there was a conspicuous absence of senior colleagues defending him. But I thought that the best comment that deserves repeating in this chamber came from the ANU economist Martin Richardson. And he said, "What's the Latin for I came, I did nothing, I stuck around?" Because I'm sure Mr Turnbull would know.